I got this car of funk in here. It's a 1997 D21 Nissan truck. Some people have problems with these when they do some brake system work and they get a spongy pedal. They might have to pump up the pedal 5 times. They might have to pump it up a couple of times before it actually works. The reason why is because, well, there's a few different reasons. I'm going to walk through these with you just for the Nissan guys. I did a video on replacing rear brake lines on this, and I had some fun trying to bleed this out. The system doesn't really work right now because of particular reasons, but I'm going to do a walkthrough on this just to kind of show you what's going on and what you need to do to bleed this thing and why it might not work properly. Yeah, this truck has all the over-engineered junk on it and all of the problems that you might have with one of these particular vehicles, so it's a perfect one to point the finger at. For one, you want to make sure your tires turn, and these are locked up. So these calipers are no good, so they don't want to move. This rear tire, it's way too tight. I don't know why. I go over to this side, this tire, it's way too loose. You should hear it drag just a little bit and feel it drag just a hair. Not too much to give it heat, you know. If it's touching too much, it's going to get hot, and that's bad. It might just be barely touching. I don't know. I'd have to take this stuff apart and look at it. But this guy just wanted me to replace brake lines, and well, he seems to be kind of a do-it-yourselfer, so that was something he didn't want to do. So I told him what was wrong with this truck and what he's got to do. So you want to make sure all that stuff's right. And then you got to go over here, put brake fluid in it, obviously. And if you look right here, you have an ABS module down in there next to all them crazy coily lines. And this is really just a horrible system. And if you look at this, let's see if I can get a camera view in here. There's a bleeder screw in here. In that module, there it is right there. If you want to get somebody in here and pump this thing, because this has got ABS, and you want them to pump the system and get pressure out of it, and you got to open that bleeder until all the air's out of it. It might be helpful to just try to bleed 2 of the other lines, right and left lines, just to get fluid to flow through it first. But if you ever do any master cylinder work or you dry out the master cylinder, there will be air in that ABS module, and you will have to bleed it out. And then you got to go back here, and this piece of junk right here that makes only half sense. There's a valve in the back above the axle, and there's a bleeder on top of that too. There, you can see that bleeder right there. You want to bleed these lines out until there's no air in that. And I don't understand why they do this. Probably because they're over-engineered, and the engineers went from building bicycles to building cars. But there's actually 2 lines, a right and a left line, that go to the back of the vehicle. And then it goes to this block that actually does good, because if the ass end gets too light, it actually takes pressure off of the brakes, so the rear brakes don't work as good, so you don't slide out. And then both of the lines go into here, and then it goes into one line on a Y block to both sides of the car, which is completely senseless. I can't make sense of it in my mind. I don't know why the heck they did something like that. But you're going to want to bleed that out, and then you want to go to the longest line, which would be actually the left side. You want to bleed that one out. After you bleed that, you bleed out the left line, until there's no air in it, and then you do the right side until there's no air in it, and then you do this side until there's no air in it, and then you do this side until there's no air in it. Then if you still got a spongy pedal and you go through your 2-3 bottles of brake fluid like I did, and you wonder why the hell it's still got a spongy pedal, you got to look at your calipers, like these ones that are locked up that are no good. And see, there's the left caliper, and there's a bleeder screw on the top, and that's actually just a hole for the other side. So if it's on the other side, they utilize this hole so the bleeder screw's on the top, so you can get all the air out of it. And I go over to the right side. You see that? The bleeder. This is a left side caliper on the right side of the vehicle. That bleeder screw is supposed to be on top because air flows uphill. So there's always going to be air in this thing. So he's got air in this system, and I got to pump the pedal twice. I got a spongy pedal, and I got to pump the pedal twice just for it to get pressure. Yeah, I don't know what you call this valve, a TVS or T something, abbreviate. But this happens all the time too. When this thing's unloaded, when you push down on it, this valve's supposed to move. This thing in the back, and it's completely locked up. So the thing's useless. That is not working right. And apparently that's a really expensive valve. It's probably always normally open because it rusts open because your rear end is always loaded. So it just gets to that point. Caravan's got some crap like this in them too. I just don't understand why it goes 2 into 1. It doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever, it doesn't have to make sense to me. It just has to work, and maybe someday it will. So this thing's got all kinds of crappy problems. Like I say, he just wanted me to replace brake lines, and I called him up and said, hey dude, you need more than just brake lines, because this never worked right. So there it is. Try that and go back on the road. Okay, bye.